Hey guys, Loco here with Inero. He stole my job on Golden Guardians, but I'm still gonna interview him because I'm nice. They recently had a pretty disappointing loss to, who was it?
It was C9. C9. Yeah.
So, really interestingly enough, you guys were known to play priority style in the early part of the split, and then you guys stopped and you guys started drafting tanks for Haunter and mages for Froggen, and you guys picked up a lot of wins off of that. And then now, interestingly enough, today you guys didn't do that, and you guys drafted LeBlanc for Froggen and Jace for Haunter, and AJ memes, insert them here. So yeah, what happened? Why'd you guys switch up the draft so much?
I think that draft should 100% guaranteed never lose to the team that C9 picked. I actually think that even though they won, like when teams pick like that, it's going to be a little disrespectful when like those overpowered picks are up, but it can win easily. And that's kind of what we did after we started 04 is we started picking stuff that's just going to be really easy team fights. It's going to scale pretty decently and you can win. Like we literally went into the week after the 04 saying like, yeah, if we get Scion Ezreal, that's just winning every game. It's winning every game in NA. Why don't we just play it? We can just do it, and it's going to be something that's free. And then looking at different picks we could play around like mid and stuff that not necessarily everyone else is playing that fit us. And we just go and do that. And it gets you wins on stage. 100% you're always going to get wins in NA doing this, and I think everyone's known that. It works. It's so easy because everyone goes on stage. You're going to play super slow compared to normal. Everyone's going to be really scared of risks, and it's an awful habit that we have as a region. And everyone knows that. Like all of our players know that. Everyone's aware of it, and everyone wants to fix it. So we go on stage and we're going to draft stuff that can still win and like force ourselves to have to learn how to do this stuff. Like we have to know how to do that. Like we can get to playoffs. Sure. We can get to playoffs playing team fight stuff. We can maybe go to Worlds doing team fight stuff. Like you can do all of that. And I think it's a waste. I think it's pointless if you're going to go to Worlds and be useless. I think it's pointless if you're going to go to playoffs and be useless personally. So I'd rather just see us be able to do that. So when we get those draft opportunities popping up, when we do a draft meeting and we say that if this happened, we would be screwed. Whenever we bring that up, we should be able to do that then. We should be able to play that. If it's going to be screwed, good. We should do it and be able to play that, or else we're just not learning. We're not trying to actually win. We're just trying to like not lose. You know, we're trying to like save face and look good enough. And I honestly like really hate that. So I'm glad we picked this today. Everything that goes through with like me and Jimmy, Jimmy's actually like more in control of doing that type of stuff, like making sure like our game plan is going to be this, but like I'm still doing basically most of the draft stuff and like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'll come up with the scenarios. Jimmy gives the go ahead on it, and we were really happy with what we got. All of us down to players, happy. This is something we should be able to play. Maybe not something guaranteed win, but something we practice a lot of.
I will say, theoretically, you guys are 100% correct because C9 drafted 3 losing lanes, and you guys had 3 winning lanes, and a Tom Kench, and 2 solo laners that can split push. So you guys should have won. You guys should have won 3-1, but it didn't happen that way. So what exactly happened in game?
So we got an advantage in mid jungle, and like I'm gonna go back and look at players like right after this. Like we had the opportunity to push stuff and like set up for a dive. We didn't actually take the dive. C9 answered on the opposite side and got a dive off. The dive was awful for them, but the way it should work out is, hey, we get to take this dive for free. They answer bottom, and their bottom can't because we have Kalista, Tom Kench. They're going to be able to survive that 100% of the time. Like, it's too difficult for them. We didn't execute, didn't do that. We got a lead, and then we eventually ended up falling into the same type of thing where, okay, we have ourselves on sides where we can maybe look to do something, but we forfeit it like a little too often to come mid and try to group and help with that. And we didn't get anything there. We also had a bot lane that we could play off of that's going to be stronger than the Tristana alley early. And instead of opting to play to that side, we played to the Jace side, which I think is totally fine. We could look to do, but we didn't have any success around doing anything there. So then the Tristana alley lane basically got to scale for free and take the bot turret for free. So there was a lot of stuff we could do around there. We didn't take the advantage of that. We didn't push ourselves enough to what our comp actually needed to do. So if we're not pushing enough, their comp's going to outscale 100%. And eventually they'll get to a point that if we're just going to walk mid against them, of course they're happy. Like they can just come mid and they can wait for us to show up mid as 5 to try to like get prio or get something from them and just Ornn TP and just try to force a fight. They could do that at any point. They didn't opt into doing that. We lost a different way, but it could happen at any point. And if we don't push ourselves enough, we'll never be able to get it.
So there's a lot of talk regarding pushing ourselves and being better, and in a lot of ways being different from rest of the teams in NA and playing the correct style. If it comes at the cost of losses and it can potentially mean you guys don't make playoffs, isn't there a certain expectation from the org, from the players, from yourself on, hey, at least we need to make playoffs? Like we were double 10ths last year, and
Right.
we upgraded a lot, and we've shown a lot of good stuff, and we even have an obvious way we can win. Isn't it kind of counterintuitive to not take those free wins and potentially not make playoffs, just trying to do the right thing?
Well, I think even here it fits kind of what we were wanting to do in the first place still. Like we can focus a lot on team fighting and we still have the opportunity to do that with our comp here. Like we can team fight early. Like 100% like Or and Trist aren't going to be useful enough to actually fight us early, so we can force 5v5 fights if we're doing it early enough, if that's what they want to opt into. So I think like sure we can be taking free wins and trying to get to playoffs, and that's definitely what our org wants. It's what all of our players want. Everyone wants to be there, but it's still very much possible for us. We can opt into that at any point. When someone gifts us something like this in draft where we can take it and we know we have the opportunity to do what we're comfortable with while also forcing something that we need to learn, I think there's no excuse for us not to take it. And if that ends up being the wrong thing, like at the end of the day, like that's on coaching staff. That's on us for choosing to do it. And if it's wrong, like, okay, it's our mess up. And like, I think we have 5 players that are all individually really good. I think these guys are great. And I think there's no excuse that they couldn't be on a team like doing well. They couldn't be like doing super well with this team. And all of it's going to come down to like us as coaches. Like, can we make this happen? Can we make these guys mesh together? They're all great. They can pull this stuff off. And I never want to treat our players like, oh, we can only win if we're playing like super passive. Like, I don't think you guys are good enough to do this. Like, I know our players are good enough. I know they're great, and I know they all want to be able to push themselves to do better. So I'm going to do my part in trying to push them. Jimmy's going to do his part. Everyone on staff's going to do their part. Try to push them to do the best possible.
So, agree with a lot of things you said, but certain things I disagree on, and I kind of want to push you on.
Okay.
So, regarding Ole and Contracts, they've both been on championship rosters. Contracts has never won, but he's been to finals with C9, and C9 itself is a championship roster. So they both came from really good orgs like TL and C9. But unfortunately, this year and this split, they haven't looked the best, and there's been a lot of hiccups with those two individual players, and a lot of blame towards Golden Guardians has been shifted towards them. Could you speak on their behalf and kind of what's going on and what you see internally regarding Contracts and Ole?
I mean, I still have full faith in those guys. Like, I think they are genuinely good. I think the stuff that they have that people are going to point out as problematic is not necessarily what people are always seeing. Everyone has their own individual issues, and nothing is as like perfect as anyone like makes it seem when they're on a winning team. But those guys are still good. They all have their positives, and it's stuff that we can easily work behind. And they're not like pulling our team down in any way. And I know people always usually try to point at something on the team like, oh, this is the reason why we're losing. This is the reason why they're losing. And you're never really going to find it without being in the team yourself. And usually it never comes down to like one person just dragging a team down. Like I've been on teams where like one person can individually be like way like just less good compared to the rest of the team, but it's never like that person's causing it to be the worst thing ever. It's just how you mesh as a team, how you're willing to actually sacrifice and push yourselves together as 5 to make it work. And I don't think those guys are like dragging us down on that. It's us as 5 have to do something different and have to do better around it. So no, I would definitely not point at those two and say like, yeah, these guys are definitely a problem point for us. Like I think they're great. I think all 5 players individually are great and all can win 100%. It's just how we can do it as a team.
So, agree with a lot of the things you said still, but they make more mistakes than more individual mistakes from Ole and Contracts in terms of getting caught out or maybe making a mistake in lane or maybe make a mistake in jungle. Is their form not up to par, or do they play much better in scrims? Because anyone can watch the game and point at, hey, this player is making more mistakes. Hey, this player is making more mistakes, especially when those players are from championship rosters. A lot of people can say their form went down or they got carried by their teammate. Could you speak on that behalf a little?
I mean, with stuff like that too, people never know what happens in comms as well. Like sometimes you might be telling a guy to like go in and face check, and he's doing it because that's his role. And if he dies, it's like he's gonna get called out for that. He's gonna look bad. Like I think there was something. Wasn't there something last year, like the double lift and Ole thing, where like they died in a 2v2 and everyone's like, Ole, you suck. Like, oh, he's so bad. And then when like comms came out for it or something, it was actually like he got told to do it, so he did it and then died. It's like people never really know what's going to lead to causing that. And I can definitely understand people looking at it and be like, wow, okay, that's definitely this guy messing up, but it's not always going to be the case for that. And people will mess up and make mistakes. And some people's mistakes are going to be more blatantly obvious than others. It doesn't mean that they're like definitely the person pulling things down. Like I think those two definitely step up in areas that are extremely important to us as a team to be successful. So if they have like misgivings somewhere, it's not necessarily always their fault or any worse than things that other people have going on. Everyone has their things, and you know, I'm happy with what we have. I think we can do a lot with it, and it's not because of these guys that anything's going wrong.
Are we going to see you guys push yourself more in terms of play style? And from what you said, you guys do want to abuse people drafting losing lanes and take advantage of certain champion picks. Are we going to see Frog and Brinchap more into assassins, less control mage mid? Are we going to see Hunter play more carries? Are we going to see you guys play around side lanes more?
I mean, you'll definitely see it when we have the opportunity to do it. It's something we've been trying to force, but I don't think it's going to be like, oh, we're only doing this the whole way through. We're still going to take comps that are going to be easy to team fight when we see the opportunity to without gimping ourselves in draft. My main thing is I don't want to go into a draft and basically say ahead of time, like, I'm not going to try to win us this draft. I'm going to try to get us something that's going to scale and win. And if they pick something that beats us, we just have to stall. I'm basically never going to do that. And us as a staff are never going to do that. So we'll take the team fight comps where we can that are going to scale and do good. But we're not going to take them just to guarantee, like, yeah, we'll lose early and then we'll hope we'll win.
Any final words for Golden Guardians fan, Inero fan, anyone watching the interview?
I mean, I always appreciate the fans, like Golden Guardians fans especially. I have a few carryovers from Echo Fox that followed me, but the guys that are there are always really supportive and really nice, and that's super helpful for players. Whenever you're going through like a tough time as a team, like having your fans support you is extremely important, and those guys are great about that. So it's nice to have that positive community for the players to look at, and I really appreciate fans like that.
Thank you, Nero, for the interview, and if you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to sub. Thank you so much to Low-Key Community for making this interview happen. If you guys want to support them, the link is going to be down in the bio.